I want to thank all the people who watched the video I posted last week and made such positive and supportive comments. I just was really overwhelmed with the response that I got. But most of all, I want to thank the people who reached out to me directly, who wanted to discuss changing their relationship with alcohol. One of the things I found from speaking to those people was there's two very common themes, two barriers to removing alcohol or taking a break that most people were experiencing. The first of those was stress, people using alcohol to manage stress. I'm going to talk about that next week. But the other one was people concerned about how they were going to function in social situations and what it meant for their friendships. For a lot of people, their friendships were built around alcohol over decades and decades. And that was absolutely my lived experience. So for the last 25, 30 years, I've gone to live sporting events. Live sport's always been my thing. All of my best friends I go and watch sport with, and that normally involves 10 hours of drinking. When I quit alcohol, I found that nothing changed. And this was such a barrier for me for so many years. For several years, this was the one thing that was preventing me from quitting the booze, is that I just couldn't figure out how I was going to function in those situations. But actually, I found out I was a better friend because I was my authentic self. Your friends are attracted to you for the real you, not the version of you when they're pissed. So when I was pissed, I didn't really want to listen to anybody else. I just wanted to talk all the time, dominate the conversation. I was the James Lloyd who just repeated himself all night. I was the James Lloyd that was loud and obnoxious. And that isn't what my friends were attracted to in the first place, because that's not me. That's a watered down, lesser version of me. So I think there's two ways of looking at alcohol and socialising that people have a struggle to get over. The first one is how are their friends going to perceive them? And the second one is how are they going to feel in social situations? So let's just quickly look at how your friends perceive you. If you go to a pub, for example, with a group of your friends and you're not drinking, you might get initially that pushback of, oh, go on, just have one, that kind of thing. That normally lasts about 10 minutes, and it's very easy to diffuse. For me, I own being alcohol free. I'm very proud of it, but that's not for everybody. If you're not comfortable in your own skin in the early days of being alcohol free, then just make up an excuse. Go pre-prepared with what you're going to say. You can say I'm on antibiotics, or I'm taking a break for health reasons, whatever it may be. But just go prepared. And like I say, that pushback tends to last for about 10 minutes. And that's normally because people don't like having a mirror held up to them. It's not the fact that you're not drinking. It's the fact that people feel that you're asking them not to drink, or you're questioning why are they doing it. So you have to be mindful of that, because it's everybody's choice. I'm not saying everybody should not drink. It's everyone's choice to live your life however you want. And the other element to this is, how am I going to deal with social situations? How am I going to feel? And I'm going to add a bit of science in here because it's really relevant. As a species, we have evolved to where we are today because we seek out human connection. Human connection is essential to our survival because we need to be part of a tribe. We need the safety of a group. If we're on our own and are isolated, we're vulnerable. And of course, we also need human connection to find a mate, to procreate and to reproduce. That is our evolution. So we are hardwired to seek out human connection. And when we do that, we get a hit of dopamine. We feel good. But in recent times, that has become associated with alcohol, because alcohol is ubiquitous in any social setting nowadays, whether it be a wake or a wedding or everything in the middle is alcohol. So we have this belief now, a limited learned belief, that alcohol is the good time, that alcohol brings the fun, but it's not. It's connection with other people. And that first, you go to a pub and let's say you're there for 2 or 3 hours. If you're alcohol free, you can see this situation play out. The first hour, everyone's really engaged, speaking to each other, listening, connecting, enjoying each other's company. But fast forward 3 hours, when everyone's had 4 or 5 pints, a half a bottle of wine, or whatever it may be, everyone's acting the way that I just described myself a moment ago. And there's not really a huge amount of value in that. Your friends are your friends, I say, because they want to see the real you. And I'm going to go a little bit out on a limb here, but if you have friends that aren't supportive of you taking a break from alcohol for your own health, then they're not your friends. I can't think of a situation where anyone would not want their friends to be happier and healthier, and happier is the key part here. So I want to leave you with one thing to think about. If I offered you the opportunity to wake up alcohol-free, with absolutely no desire to drink, no cravings whatsoever, would you take it? If the answer is yes, reach out to me on Let's Talk, because it's achievable, because I've done it. Thanks for listening.